Hi guys, in this video we are going to work with June examination grade 12 2023. Yes, mathematics paper 1. If you are new to this channel, what are you waiting for? Let's do the right thing. Let's subscribe. You only subscribe once, right? Without wasting time. In this video specifically, I'm going to work with question 1. Yes, it will be a series of videos. Yes, we will create a series of videos as we are reviewing for prelim. Yes, just forget about paper 1 June. It's now in the past, but we can always learn from the past, right? Let's put this into practice. It is always vital to read your instructions and information. We can see that we are told that we need to leave our answers in 2 decimal places, write neatly and legible. Yes, follow that. Right, without wasting time, let's get this into practice. We are given 1.1. At 1.1, it says solve for x. Let's start with 1.1. Solve for x. So we're given 12x is equals to x squared. Right, we are required to solve for x. We are also required to hence or otherwise determine the values of p and blah blah blah. How many marks? Let's start with this 7 marks. And how do we get that 7 marks? Let's put this into practice. Yes, the first question, guys, there we are required to solve for x, and it's 3 marks, right? Given is 12x equals to x squared. So what we could do is to write this in a standard form. We can write this in a standard form. So we could say x squared, take 12x to the other side. It will be minus 12x, right? So equated to 0. So we could see that this is a quadratic formula. So there's another type of factorization which is called a highest common factor. There's a highest common factor, factorized by highest common factor. We are going to take out x as the highest common factor, because x times x, that will be x squared. To get to negative 12x, we need 12. So we will then equate to 0, equate everything to 0. X is equals to 0, or x minus 12 is equals to 0. Okay, right? So we are done with this. Then let's take 12 to the other side. X is equals to 12. So that's how you can get that 3 marks, right? So that's how you can solve the first part. Let's go and see what the second part says. The second part says hence or otherwise determines the value of the values of p if p squared minus 1 squared is equals to 12, p squared minus 1. Leave your answer in a set form, right? Okay, let's write this, and I want you to see something regarding this. Let me start with 12. So I'll just write it 12 p squared minus 1, as well as p squared minus 1 squared. So you can see, guys, this is a similar thing. In fact, p squared minus 1 represent x in this case. So we could just say let p squared minus 1 is equals to, remember that they said hence or otherwise determine the values. We are using the previous one, which is 1.1.1, so that we can get the values of p. So in this case, we are going to say let p squared minus 1 is equals to x, right? Okay, we will use both solutions. X is equals to 0 and x equals to 12. So where we see x, we are going to place 0. Let's start with 0. So p squared, take negative 1 to the other side. This will be positive 1. Then square root of p squared, that will be p. Square root of 1, that will be plus or minus 1. So remember that they said leave your answer in a set form where necessarily, meaning that one of the solution must have must be in a set form. Or remember, now we could say p squared minus 1 is equals to, what do we have? 12 as our x value. So take 1 to the other side, p squared, 12 plus 1, that will be 13. Then the root of p squared, it will be p. So root of 13, it will be plus or minus root 13. Because they said leave your answer in a set form, Guess this is how it should be. This is how it should be. P is equals to root 13, right? So these are the values of P, okay? Let's go to our 1.2. At 1.2, solve for x if 5x squared plus 7x minus 2, round off the answer to 2 decimal places. Then how many marks is that? That is 4 marks, right? Okay. How do we tackle such? Let's put this into practice. We are now working at 1.2. To work with 1.2, guys, remember that we are given 5. They said if 5, solve for x, if 5x squared plus 7x minus 2 is equated to 0. So correct to 2, round off your answer to 2 decimal places. Here you can complete a square or use a quadratic formula when they say so. So this is A, and this is B, and this is C. So in your formula sheet, there is a quadratic formula. So it's going to be negative b plus or minus root b squared minus 4ac, okay, minus 4ac divided by 2a. That's the formula. Then what is our b there? Our b, we can see it's going to be minus 7 plus or root. Remember that this is what we call a discriminant. Then our b there, it's going to be 7 squared. Our a is going to be 5. Our c is going to be negative 2. Okay, divided by 2a. Our a is 5 there. Okay, let's work out negative 7 plus or minus root. Then let's see, 2 times 5, that's going to be 10. So from here, it's also very important to use your calculator there. Just say what is inside the root there. Root 7 squared. What is inside this discriminant? Multiply root 7 squared minus 4 times 5. Right. 4 times 5 as well as minus 2. What do we get? We get a root 89. So in this case, it's going to be root 89. So you must leave your answers in 2 decimal places. Punch your calculator then from there. Sorry for that. It should be root 89, not 8. So when we say negative 7 plus root 89 divided by 10, correct to 2 decimal places, we get 0.24. The other one, let's see, what are we getting? Negative 7 plus root 18. Negative 7 minus root. So that's going to be negative 7 minus root 89 divided by 10. We get negative 1.64 as the solution in this case. Okay. So let's proceed. Now we are proceeding at 1.3. Then we are required to solve for x if root x plus 6 is equals to x. And how many marks is that? That's 5 marks. So such questions, guys, when you are given such, you can see this is what we call a set equation. So this type of set equation, it's already isolated. So meaning that since it's already isolated, if it was not isolated, maybe they will say maybe x plus 6 minus x equals to 0. Then we'll have to isolate. But in this case, it's not. So what are we going to do? We are going to square both sides. We are going to square both sides. Right? So let's put this into practice. Right? So this will be root x plus 6 is equals to x. So you're going to square both sides. So it's going to be the root and the 2 will get rid of each other. Then you're left with x plus 6. Then when you square x, it's going to be x squared. Then we need to write this in the standard form. Then take x to the other side, it becomes minus x. Okay, take 6, it becomes minus 6, right? Yes, guess we did it well, right? Remember that we did take x plus 6 to the other side. So when you're here, this is a quadratic equation. You need to factorize the factors of x squared. That's going to be x and x, which is equated to 0. Then factors of 6, it's 3 and 2. That will give us -1, the middle term. So what about the signs? This will take a negative sign, and this will take a positive sign. Negative 3 plus 2, that's -1. And negative 3 times 2, that's -6. Right, then you equate everything to 0. X minus 3 is equals to 0, or x plus 2 is equals to 0. So x, take negative to the other side, positive, and take positive 2 to the other side, negative 2. Then you're not done, guys. It's also important to check for your validation. Yes, check whether your solutions are valid. If we can place 3 in that root, so we're going to say 3 plus root 6, we get root 3, right? And if you can place it in that x, we get 3. So let's try to put now negative 2. You go back and check. Negative 2 plus 6, that's going to be 2. But when you place negative 2 to the right hand side, it's going to be negative 2. So that means this solution, it's not applicable, right? So the proper solution will be x is equals to 3 in this case. So always check your answers so that you know that you are not going to lose marks in that case, right? Let's go to 1.4. Use the solution for x in question 1.3 to determine the value of y, for which root y plus 1 is equals to y minus 5. All right, guys. To such a question, let's write it. Let's write it down. Let's put this into practice. So we are at 1.4. At 1.4, you have root y plus 1, which is equals to y minus 5. They said use the solution that we have gotten in 1.3, which is x is equals to 3. Right? You use those solutions so that they said use the solution for x that you've gotten in at 1.3 to determine the value of y. So, okay, to make life easier, let's link this thing. If you can see, this thing, it's the same actually. What they did here it was x plus 1. I guess they have reduced this by to get to 1, they've reduced it by 5. Similarly, they also subtracted this case. What they did in the left hand side, they also did it on the right hand side. That's why we have, when you have 6 minus 1, we have 5. And y, this will be y minus 5 in this case. So what we could do, to be on a safe side, we could just say let x be equal to y minus 5, right? So let's make y the subject in this case. So we are going to say, let's take x to the other side. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be, let's take x. When you take x to the other side, it's going to be we have y, right? So it's gonna be, let me make it simpler. We have y minus 5, right? So we said let it be x. So it's gonna be y is equals to 5. Y minus 5 is equals to x. Take 5 to the other side so that it becomes easy on this man. So this will be 5 plus x, or you could write it as x plus 5, which is the same thing. Okay, are we fine with that? Then to get the y values, remember that we need to determine the y value. So what we could do, let's take this 3. When we take 3, it's going to be 3 plus 5, so which will be 8 in this case. Okay, you can also do the other parts. If you can use negative 2, you are going to have a y. You're going to have a positive 3. You're going to have positive 3. Similarly, as even if you can use y, you are going to say, similarly, if you can use negative 2, you are going to have y is equals to negative 2 plus 5, which will be 3 in this case. Then, guys, you can also check for validity, which one it's valid or invalid. So if we can take positive 8, let's say 8 root 8 plus 1, that will give you root 9, and root 9 it's 3. Then when you take 8 minus 5, get 3. So the both sides 3 and 3, that's valid. If you take what we got here, 3 plus 1, it's 4. Square root of 4, it's gonna be 2. But when we take 3 minus 5, that's minus 2. So meaning that this won't be this is invalid. It will be NA. So the value solution will be Y is equals to 8 in this case, right? Okay. Then let's look at our last question in question 1, since the video 1 is based on question 1. Then a race requires an athlete to run 10 kilometer and cycles 50 kilometer. Okay, that's a distance, as we can see. Tendane runs at the speed of x kilometer per hour, in which we don't know. So, and cycles at the speed x plus 31 in terms of x kilometer per hour. He takes 10 all over x hours for the 10 kilometer run. So express the time he takes for the 50 kilometer cycle in terms of x. Right, so such a typical question, guys. It's very important to use remember, this is a weight problem. It's a weight problem. The one of Tendani, it's a weight problem. So we are told about distance and speed. So remember in grade 9, you were introduced to speed and distance and time. So you could draw this diagram, DST triangle. So because they are looking for what? They want us to express the time it takes for the 50 kilometer. Remember that distance is given as 50 kilometer in this case. Then the time we don't know, because it is the one that we need to express this in terms of x. But we are given the speed. The speed is given as x plus 31. So that's the distance and that's the speed in this case. So to get the speed, to express the time, we need to close here. When you close here, you can see it's d all over s. Time is equals to distance all over speed. That's what we are going to have. So in this case, we are going to have t is equals to d all over s. So which is your speed, distance all over speed. Then your speed is 50 kilometers, so it's going to be 50 all over x plus 31, right? Remember, that's your speed, which is x plus 31. So that's how you get that 1 mark. Then let's go to 1.5.2. Calculate the speed correct to 2 decimal places at which he must run to complete the entire race in 2 hours. We are calculating the speed, right? So to make life easier in this case, we need to use the information that we have there, right? So we are told that our answer at 5.1.1 was, we also need to, that was the time, the first time. We have T1. Our T1 in this case will be this. Then this, we could say it's T2, right? We could say it's T2, the one that we calculated at 1.5.1. So we will need to sum up both of these. Remember that this is 5.1, and we are looking at 5.5, 1.5.2. So when we need to sum up the total of the times, remember that we have 10 all over x, and also have this time, which is 50 all over x plus 31. What is interesting is that we were told that calculate the speed at which he must run to complete the entire race. So we need to sum up both speeds, both times. So the race in hours is going to be 2 hours, right? So that's t. So what are we going to put there? We are going to put 2 here, because in hours it's given as 2. So it's going to be 10 all over x plus 50 divided by x plus 31. Since we have a fraction, actually we are calculating the speed that they have asked us in this question. Remember, we're calculating the speed that Tendane runs at a speed of x kilometer. That's what we are looking for here in this case. So x is missing, so we need to calculate that x. So what is interesting, guys, is to find an LCD. The LCD here will be x multiplied by x plus 31. Okay, right? Let's speed this question, right? So from here, guys, let's put this into practice. We have an LCD, which is x multiplied by x plus 31. Okay, then we cross multiply. I'm going to use Orlando Pirates, cross multiply. We are going to have 10 multiplied by x plus 31. Okay, as well as 50 times x, which is 50x. Okay, so from here, 10, so from here, guys, we can multiply out x times x, that will be x squared, and x times 31, that will be 31x. So what we could do here, 10 times x, that's going to be 10x, and 10 times 31, that will be 310, okay, plus 50x. You can multiply by the denominator both sides, so we have x squared here, plus 31x. Similarly, we have what? X squared plus 31x, right? So this and this, they cancel. So let's continue from here. Remember that we have 2 multiplied by x squared plus 31x, which is equated to this, right? So it's going to be 10x. 10x plus, it's going to be 10x plus 50x, okay, plus 310. So we need to collect the like terms in this case. So we are going to have x squared plus 62x. Remember that 2 times 31 is 62, so it's going to be 62x, okay, which is equals to 10 plus x, like terms, that's going to be 60x plus 310. So we can put this into a standard form. So what are we going to do? So from here, we are going to say 2x squared. If we take 60 to the other side, it will be the same as 62 minus 60, which will be 2x. Then if you take 310, that becomes minus 310. Then you can divide both sides by 2. So just say, how many times does 2 goes into 2? That will be x squared. How many times does 2 goes into 2? That will be x in this case. So 310 divided by 2. What is that? 210 divided by 2, that will be 155. Remember that they said calculate the speed correct to 2 decimal places. It means this equation, it cannot be factorized. Then the suitable method that we can use, it's a quadratic. So this will be a, and this will be b, and this will be c. So what are we going to do? So we are going to say negative b plus or minus root b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a in this case. So to get, remember that we need to get x as our speed. So what is your b? Your b is going to be minus 1 plus or minus. We take the coefficient in this case. So it's going to be 1 squared. Then our a is going to be 1. Our c is going to be negative 155. Right? So divided by a is 1. Then let's work it out. Remember looking for x, so this is negative 1 plus or minus. Then let's work out what is inside the bracket. 1 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 155. Then we get 621. Right, it's 621. Let's confirm that. Yes, it's 621. Yes, just as we have stated, guys, gonna be 621. 2 times 1, that's gonna be 2. So this is what we are going to have. Therefore, x is equals to space. Okay, let me just write the solution here. X is equals 2, or x is equals 2. So we're calculating for the speed. So to make life easier, just say -1 plus root 621 divided by 2. Then, okay, we have 12 comma something there. It's comma 96 now. Right, after you have punched -1 plus root 621 divided by 2, your answer is 12,96. So let me just write it well. X is equals to 12,96, correct to 2 decimal places. Or you can have, let's now place -1 minus root 621 divided by 2. That would be -12,96. So we cannot have a speed that is negative. In this case, we cannot take the one that is negative. Let's take the one that is positive. So let's take this. So meaning that it will be, let's go back where it says, let's go back here. So to calculate Tendani speed, remember that we're calculating the speed for Tendani at which he must run to complete the entire race in 2 hours. So that speed, it's 12,96 kilometer per hour. So in this case, you run 12,96 kilometer per hour. That's the solution in this case. Hope you find this video useful, and don't forget to subscribe and like. And remember, we love you. You only subscribe once as you are growing. We really appreciate you guys, and we wish you well on the upcoming exam, which is prelim. Start preparing them as early as possible. See you on question 2.